If I'm the DoD, why do I want to basically put all my eggs in the Amazon basket? How can you now open up APIs through Azure to third-party developers who can make software for the troops on the ground?
There's a lot of value to be unlocked there. I think Salesforce is definitely an interesting analog. Obviously, defense is a little more security concerned than your typical enterprise, but the basic model is fundamentally similar.
Big news last week about Microsoft's JEDI contract beating out Amazon. I joined the CNBC folks on the Power Lunch show, and we're gonna kind of play a little snippet about that, and then touch on that topic. We didn't get to it last week.
I think for Amazon, the question, Alex, is are they at a point now where they are in fact losing share, that they might have to compete on price, and the growth of AWS may not be as vibrant, or may never be as vibrant as it once was, sub 40% growth?
I mean, we've seen the growth slowing, but still Amazon has a lot of headspace beyond Microsoft number 2, Google Cloud number 3 in the space. I mean, I think the one part about the JEDI versus the difference about the general kind of AWS or Azure business is this idea of a network effect of these kind of app ecosystems, right? So that means that there's a winner-take-all dynamic if you look at an AWS or an Azure. And Amazon's still the clear leader in that. I think the DoD puts less of an emphasis on the value coming from this third-party app ecosystem, which wasn't factored in as much as it might be from a traditional business or commercial customer. They go on to ask about, is it a big loss for for Amazon, all these kinds of things. And basically my short response to that was, I don't know. I think it makes sense where if I'm the DoD and AWS won the contract with the NSA last year. So it's not like Amazon doesn't have a strong government cloud storage business. But if I'm the DoD, why do I want to basically put all my eggs in the Amazon basket? Why wouldn't I want to spread it around a little bit to someone like Microsoft, which has experience working with the government, with DoD in many other areas, has a formidable, clearly cloud storage product? I think just strategically from that sense, I can understand why you'd want to have two strong players as opposed to one behemoth. That was my main point for their follow-up question. I don't think this app marketplace kind of point, I mean, maybe it made sense to them, but I don't think it truly resonated in the sense that the DoD is only looking for the pure commodity of
the infrastructure is what they care about. That's, how secure is the infrastructure? Does it work? What capabilities do you have? How's it going to support what we do? It's not all the other third-party plugins and things that come with AWS's ecosystem, or to a lesser extent Microsoft's.
Yep.
In Azure, it's just the infrastructure.
Give me the box,
right?
Right. And I'll pay you $10 billion over 5 years, right?
And we've talked about
boxes
in the past too, how that app ecosystem is needed in the defense sphere. But obviously that would probably be a little more secure and separate from the kind of general commercial infrastructure on AWS. So that existing ecosystem they have wouldn't be a factor, but that definitely needs to be built within the defense space as well.
Mm-hmm. I wish we could have gone there. It's definitely a little bit more out there. But yeah, what does the DoD really need? How can you let an app marketplace be built kind of like Salesforce around the data being stored in now Azure's private government cloud for the DoD? How can you now open up APIs through Azure to third-party developers who can make software for the troops on the ground, for the analysts in command and control,
right,
for all the different people, millions of people in the Department of Defense that all have different needs.
Right. And a lot of what you have right now is super slow development. Programs can take years to get made. So there's a lot of an emphasis on getting to more agile development processes in defense, but it's moving slowly, kind of ironically. And you also have a lot of, as we've seen in many other industries as well, duplicate IT spend. So a lot of people working on very similar problems and basically duplicating the same effort and work. Whereas if you had this more app ecosystem approach, if someone else solved it and gets you 90% of the way there, you could plug that in basically in a different context.
Well, you're unlocking creativity, right? You're unlocking innovation. It's the more democratic or, capitalist model, which is to say, let people take a gamble and say, hey, if I have access to these APIs and these APIs give me access to this data, what software could I build for the different people in the DoD? Those people are going to need to have a budget, like buying, an app on the App Store, but I'm sure that could be carved out if the DoD were behind this, and reward the app developers that create the killer app based upon who wants to buy it and how much they're willing to spend on it. How much value does it provide to the end user? And that whole system is miles away from happening. But if you want to look at how to increase lethality, which was Mattis's big thing, and there was 3 mechanisms for them to look at increasing lethality, and technology was one of them. So if you want to look at how can software and just innovation be unlocked to increase lethality, we have so much data and information. I think there's a usability problem, as well as just having what kind of AI could you apply to the data, because it's so siloed. It's usability, it's intelligence on the data because it's siloed. It's apps that can just improve the quality of the data in the system. There's a whole, basically half of the Salesforce apps are just apps that improve data quality, whether removing duplicate data or just bad data,
or adding new fields or types of data to it that they're able to pull in from other sources data, and combining it. So yeah, there's a lot of value to be unlocked there. I think Salesforce is definitely an interesting analog. Obviously, defense is a little more security concerned than your typical enterprise, but the basic model is fundamentally similar.
Yeah, exactly. The ace for this whole model, the ace is that we sell this equipment around the world. So if you have some kind of centralized, app ecosystem model, all of that data is going to come back into the US, right? So you're going to be able, these things, if they're connected, all the equipment you're making is connected, all these sensors are connected, and you want to now get these apps that are built on top of your connected war machines. Now you're going to have basically a backdoor into all of that in a centralized way, which I'm sure the US government already has, but this would probably just be a lot cleaner of a mechanism to get access to that stuff. But I guess we're not supposed to talk about that. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.